All right, I am back with another Destiny 2 video, and today I wanted to talk about what I'm hoping happens tomorrow. I'm kind of out of the prediction business at this point because I predicted last week that that was going to be when things picked up again for the story, but we are literally down to 2 weeks left now before the Witch Queen launches, or two resets, and the final Season of the Lost mission has to be happening either tomorrow or 1 week before launch, which would be next Tuesday. I think it is kind of crazy to leave this to the very last reset here. That means that you could just be on vacation or something, or just unable to play for a week and miss the entire finale of the storyline. You can already get the seasonal title and stuff, so you would literally only be missing whatever happens, but I do think that they need at least a 2 week buffer. I would have said they need at least a 3 week buffer, but clearly that didn't happen. So I am certainly going to be tuning in tomorrow to see if anything does manifest a reset here. I have been tracking potential changes in this room pretty much every week, and nothing has changed. It turns out what was changing was something in astral alignment itself. I wrote an article about this earlier today. On Reddit, there was a thread about how we have been building a bridge to the central tower from the astro alignment little islands this entire time, which you could see in the background each month or so. It's gotten a little bit longer, and it is about to connect to a central tower. This could be the central tower. I can't see out of here, so I'm a little hesitant to definitely say that this is here, or this. It could be that we're going to move Savathun to whatever astral aligned spot we've carved out over there, but that is something that has been changing week to week, and I was surprised that it took people, including myself, 5 or 6 months to notice it. I would have never noticed it unless someone brought it up. So eagle-eyed viewers out there have finally finally released that maybe a day before it happens, or at the most a week before we get the final event. My guess is that we are going to get the thing tomorrow, but I'm so tired of predicting things. It makes the most sense to me, just given that you would want at least a tiny bit of a buffer between now and the Witch Queen, because it's going to be too much if you have to cram, every final story beat into the last section of that there, and you're going to get a ton of people missing the final step there. Maybe, I guess it kind of depends what it is. If it's just something that's essentially a cutscene, that's one thing, but if it's an actual mission, this is why I have my doubts that what we're going to see here is an actual mission, and I feel like it's going to be either kind of an in-engine cutscene, like something where, we stand around and watch things, and we watch Savathun's crystal crack or whatever, or that a combination of that and a real cutscene with Marasov doing her Marasov thing, trying to murder Savathun, and maybe actually murdering Savathun, but that just sends her to her throne world, and then she gets the light, as we know, although we still don't know how she actually gets the light. That could happen during the cutscene, or that may be a mystery that we're trying to solve in the Witch Queen. I imagine that's the direction we're heading, but because I don't think they would design an entire combat-focused mission with a boss and everything just to air for at most 2 weeks, at minimum 1 week. You don't. This was always the problem with seasonal content, and why a lot of it was kind of crappy, because stuff that would happen at the end of the season, the first year they did seasons, would just go away. You know what I mean? It would just disappear instantly, a couple weeks after it debuted, so there wasn't really a point. We haven't run into that problem this season because everything is stuck around, but now we are getting to the point where all seasonal stuff except battlegrounds and things like that are getting wiped completely. So whatever happens, you will literally only be able to experience it for 1 to 2 weeks before it leaves entirely. And as such, I'm not really expecting a whole lot past maybe a cutscene that you can catch up with on YouTube if you do miss it. We also have a few more things. There is going to be another radio message here. We know that from the triumphs of the season, there's supposed to be one more radio message here, and then when you get one more radio message, you get one more lore book, and that lore book is somewhere. Here it is, Ripples. Okay, so the last thing we heard was Mara and Savathun squaring off, and then Mara puts her in super stasis, not actually stasis, but whatever Mara's purple crystal powers are, And then we have one more entry that we don't know what's going to happen here. So we have essentially 3 story beats. We have that, we have the audio log, and then we have whatever the cutscene crystal thing is with Savathun. I feel like we're not going to get an exact explanation as to how she gets the lights. So the more we've gotten out of the Ikora Ray journal that I've been talking about lately, the more I'm kind of pulling back on my theory that Mara Sov is going to die during this process. And like, even if she does, it doesn't really matter, because there are now 2 confirmed times where Mara Sov has died, and then just kind of that just sends her to her own throne world, and then she comes back again. The first time was the one we saw, obviously, in the Battle of Saturn, where she dies and then comes back. But there was another time in between that where she was... It's that crazy story yesterday about her and Eris and the pyramid, and like she may have blown up a pyramid and died in the process, and then Eris had to resummon her back from her throne world using a hive ritual. So like, Mara dying doesn't really count because she can't really die in the traditional sense. Even though she's not a guardian, she just goes to her own awoken throne world and comes back again. And there's just a good amount of stuff in that journal that makes me think that she's probably just going to be another character in Witch Queen, as opposed to, we're not trying to like avenge her or anything like that. But I am leaning towards things happening tomorrow. I'm obviously going to check, and then if something does happen, that will be my video for tomorrow, so I'm not going to make one until then. This is just kind of the problem with seasonal storytelling. I have lamented the fact that there has been this just giant yawning gap in between. I think it was the first week of October is the last time we got one of these little people to show up, and that was like the last story beat. And that was, 4 months ago. And we did have Dares of Eternity and our 30th anniversary stuff in between, but this was a pretty rough season in terms of storytelling, because I do think it was going pretty well before this, but the enormous gap just kind of necessitated, such a long break. And I don't blame the writers for that. It's just kind of the unfortunate realities of game development, where if you map these seasons out ahead of time, and then suddenly COVID happens and Witch Queen's delayed, and you do not have content to fill, those 3 extra months you now have. So I'm hoping that we just go back to 3-month seasonal rotations again, where in that situation, at least, it was like 1 month or something was kind of dead, as opposed to 4 months. I think they did do a good job in terms of 30th anniversary stuff, keeping us busy. Lord knows I farmed that enough, and the dungeon is good and things like that. It just didn't have to do with the seasonal story. So things are wrapping up either tomorrow or the following week. Again, I'm leaning toward tomorrow, but if you are following my predictions, that may mean it's the following week, since I'm always wrong. But if so, you got to really make sure you're back for that week, or else you're just going to have to catch up on YouTube. We will see if there's an actual mission or something, but my guess is sort of something in-game or an extended cutscene that's going to be our kind of transition going forward into the Witch Queen, and then kind of the last bits of those lore unlocked, which I will also talk about. But anyway, those are my thoughts. We will see what happens or does not happen tomorrow. Take care.